What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. So listen, this is Celebrity Big Brother Season 3, Episode 5. So look, we start this episode off, like I said, we know who's on the block. We have Mariah and we have Chris Kattan. And Mariah is the target. Chris Kattan is just a pawn. But Misha is not happy. And, you know, I think Misha doesn't understand that she is no longer the head of household. I think she thinks that this alliance that she created when she was head of household means that she's in charge and that they have to do what she tells them to do. No, ma'am. Now, I know that we have seen Big Brother seasons where that has happened. But this is not that, and these are not them, okay? And Chris Kilpatrick is really not happy at the fact that it seems like Misha is really trying to manipulate him and trying to make him put up who she wants up. And she was like, I don't know why he's going after Mariah because the target is Carson. No, your target was Carson. Now, Chris Kattan said something that I thought was interesting. He said, well, I seem to be on the block because I haven't been talking game with anybody. But I don't want to talk game with anybody. I'm not here to make alliances. And then what you here for? Because that is what Big Brother is all about. Big Brother is all about making alliances and being sneaky and backstabbing. And that's the game. It's about playing chess and figuring out moves. So if that's not what he's there for, I mean, I feel like he's going to probably be around longer than he probably should. Because he is a likable person and he isn't causing any waves. Like the people who are playing are going to be on the front end. But the Todd Bridges and the Chris Kattans are, I think, going to kind of be under the radar a little bit. We hear Lamar talk about, you know, his son who passed away, and he said he had a dream about him, and, you know, they talked about that, and, you know, Todd was like, you know, I think a lot of people don't get to see this Lamar Odom. Like, you read the headlines, and you hear all of the salacious stuff, but you don't really get to see this side of him, and this, you know, he's really a good guy, you know. Chris and Shayna realize that even though they're in this alliance with Misha and Toddrick, they're really not in an alliance with Misha and Toddrick. And Toddrick and Misha sort of corner him in the pantry area, and once again they're trying to manipulate him into putting up, you know, Carson. They're talking about the, you know, the veto situation because and they were like, well, if somebody comes off the block, then this is what you need to do. And once again, he's sitting there and he's like, listen, I'm not stupid. I know exactly what they're doing. They're really pressing this issue. They're really pushing, you know, the envelope. And even Toddrick is saying in his confessional that, you know, like, Chris isn't being smart for putting Carson up because that's best for his game. Exactly, Toddrick. That's best for your game. That may not necessarily be best for Chris's game. And he is head of household. Again, if you're an alliance, yes, people's opinions should matter, but he's made it clear that that's not what he wants to do. And at this point, y'all just need to cut y'all losses and play for head of household next week. I don't know what to tell you. So the veto, it ends up being Cynthia's playing, Toddrick's playing, and Shayna is playing. And of course, everybody knows how important the veto is for their game. Now, Cynthia, child, you don't need to win that veto. Like, this is a fight you stay the hell out of. You was under the radar this week. Your name didn't get put on the block. You need to just go. Your whole alliance has fallen apart, girl. You don't need no fingers pointing at you. You don't need no eyes on you. You need to sit back and you need to just be cool and just let this be what it's going to be. Toddrick, of course, we know he once had a household because he wants to take Mariah off the block and put Carson on. Shayna needs to play so she can keep the noms the same. So the veto competition is one of those games where you have to look at the picture and you have to remember certain things in the picture and be able to answer it. And at first, damn, Chris was getting them all wrong. I mean, I said, well, damn, what are you looking at? Like, you, girl, boy, you need to get it together. Toddrick, Shayna, Cynthia was even hanging in there at first for a minute. But then it started separating itself, and Toddrick was in the lead, and I was like, oh, man, Toddrick is going to win this HOH, and it's going to be a whole situation with the replacements and all of that, and it's going to blow up the house. And then Cynthia would tie it again, and then Shayna would tie it again. And then it came down to a tie. It was Toddrick and Shayna. and it was a final question. And you know, y'all know whenever there's a tie, the tiebreaker is something dealing with numbers. You got to figure out how many hours or how many, you know, estimated count or something. And so they had to guess how long Todd Bridges had been on the block, right? In hours or something to that effect. Shayna guessed like 72. Toddrick guessed 180. The correct answer was like 172. So you couldn't go over the number, even though Toddrick was closest to the number. He went over the number. So Shayna wins. She wins veto, and she keeps the noms the same, of course. So when it comes down to the vote, of course, Mariah gets voted out. Now, that ain't the scandal, okay? Mariah gets voted out, and it really looked like people were, like, ready for her to go. Like, Todd, he said his vote before he sat down good and was like, Mariah. I was like, dang, what is going on? So, word on the curb is, Mariah was really rubbing the people the wrong way up in the house. And she made a comment a couple of times about being the youngest and trying really hard. And even though she was the youngest there and everybody there was so much older than her. And I felt like that might be connected to some of what we see going on. Now, let me go back. I'm sorry. I'm going to put a pin in that. When it was time for them to give their speeches, Chris basically told everybody to vote him out and he wanted to go home. So you had to know how bad it was when the person who's on the block said, listen, don't vote to keep me. I want to leave. And they still get to stay because everybody wants the other person out that bad. Now, we've seen that happen before. But it just lets you know, how bad that is. So, what I heard was out there on them streets, allegedly, Mariah said something really nasty about Chris Kilpatrick's wife, to the point where CBS would not allow them to talk about it and would not allow it to be repeated. And so this whole storyline of Chris voting her out because she just hasn't talked game and it's something about her and he just doesn't know her, seems like that might be a little disingenuous based on that. Now, that's allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not, y'all. That's what I had heard. But I did pick up on something. Y'all know how the hot mics, when the person gets voted out and the hot mics pick up things. I picked up when Todd said something about, how she was one time he came in the bathroom and she yelled at him asking for some privacy, and he was like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody here has privacy. So it sounds like there were a lot of quirky things going on with Miss Mariah. She was the youngest in the house, and that might have been, some barriers there. But I want to know if that rumor is true that she said something about Chris's wife, baby. I want to know. Anyway, y'all tell me what y'all heard in them comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.